Attention trucking companies and truck drivers. If you need help with cash flow, we've got help on the way. Turn to Tab Bank, the bank that knows trucking. Tab Bank has been in the business of helping truck drivers and trucking companies with their cash flow needs for 25 years. It's just that simple. It's what they do. But they don't stop there. Tab Bank helps grow your business with their invoice, factoring, and banking services. What a plus that is. Before you book your next load, play it safe and contact Tab Bank to get their help with your factoring needs. Tab Bank helps determine the credit worthiness of your customers as well as billing and collection efforts on invoices that you factor with them. Let the experts at Tab Bank get you cash quickly for the loads you deliver. Again, it's what they do. Visit tabbank.com/talkcdl to learn more. That's tabbank.com/talkcdl. Tab Bank member FDIC.
And we are live.
Whoa.
Well, technically we're really not live. We should be going live, but we're not live. I can't even imagine this show being live. Anyways, we haven't been on in 2 weeks purposely because our last interview was with the FBI, Frank Leguzzi. I always forget his name. Great guy, though.
FBI Frank.
He was a FBI Frank. And I mean, just to recap that for just like 5 seconds. Interesting how there's almost 900 murders linked to what they think are over-the-road truckers. So, I often tell drivers, you don't understand what you're sharing the road with. Because I talk to a lot of truck drivers. And, I think some of them just assume everybody is the same and, that it's a brotherhood. And it is a brotherhood, but it's not a brotherhood with some. So there's some very dangerous cats out there driving tractor trailers that shouldn't be really even free. They should be in prison because I forget how many active serial killers there really are in the country, but it's quite a bit. So it's, that's why I encourage every trucker to carry. Seriously, carry. I do. I encourage it. So moving on, Ruth Ann, I didn't know what to start the show with this week. And I know you do a lot of reading too, and I don't know, maybe you've seen this story. It sounds like a story you would have picked up on. There was a baby born at a truck stop in Michigan. Did you even see that one?
No.
Yes.
No, tell me about it.
Okay.
Yes, I don't think I've seen that one.
Well, it was just a cute story. It says a baby is doing just fine after being born in the parking lot of a Michigan truck stop early Thursday morning. It said they were on their way to the hospital in Holland, Holland is over on the west side of Michigan, like above Chicago, around the bend there, up a little ways on the water. So they were on their way to this exactly, like if you're looking at the map, it's to your left. But anyway, Ruth Ann's over there doing the hand thing. Okay, where's my left? Is my left west? If you're looking at it, left rhymes with west, but if you were looking away, then west would be your right. So, anyways, I always, the easiest way to remember east and west, California's west, right? And the Carolinas, Georgia, Pennsylvania, all that's east. So that's the easiest way to remember east and west. So anyway, they're on their way to this hospital. I guess the water must have broke. And there's a lot of women that, especially first-time baby extractors or whatever you want to call them. First-time baby goers, sometimes they run to the hospital for every little thing.
Right.
And doctors never panic until the
water breaks.
And the contractions, they don't even really do anything until you're like 10 centimeters dilated or some crap, right?
Or when you're getting close to it. So if you're 8 to 9 centimeters dilated, then they're going to be starting to be prepared.
Right. I know people will, even when they're dilated 2 and 3 centimeters, they're don't even go to the hospital. It's you're going to be a while, right? You just wait it out and go when it's close. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Generally.
If you're a pro baby popper, you're to wait, right? Bottom line. So anyway, so they're on their way. I guess Niagara Falls comes, the water breaks, and probably Pryor rather. And so I guess they're going by the truck stop. They're like, this baby ain't waiting. So they whip into a parking lot, and here it's a truck stop. And I guess all the people at the truck stop, like the workers, were running towels out and stuff. I guess the 911 dispatcher stayed on the phone with them, and they got the baby delivered. And then I guess the ambulance or whatever came, picked them up, and shipped them off to the hospital. And that was it. If I was those parents, I would figure out a really unique name for that baby. I would.
Like
Diesel.
I was going to say, was it a TA? Loves?
That's baby Diesel. Let me
If
see.
it's a boy, Diesel would be cool.
Yeah, what would you name a girl born at a truck stop?
Lovey.
Lovey.
If it's Loves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm trying to think of something feminine in trucking, but there really isn't.
There's not much feminine in trucking.
Yeah. I mean, you can't name her ladies' room. I mean,
Shower.
shower. I don't know if it says what the name of the truck stop was. Let me just see here. The new family transported to nearby hospital. Truck stop employees. I don't know. It doesn't really say the name of the truck stop. What does it matter? Oh, the Tulip. Hey, name her
There
Tulip.
it is.
Yeah, it's called the Tulip City Truck Stop. Now, there's a perfect name if it's a girl.
Tulip.
Name her Tulip.
There you go.
So I guess the...
Diesel for a boy, Tulip for a girl.
And I was kind of disappointed when I was reading, because it said like the people at work there, I guess, were helping, bringing, what do you boil water for? Remember the old thing, boil water and tear up towels? But anyway, so they're bringing towels, I guess, over to help her, I guess, to, keep her dry and clean, blah, blah, blah. But I was thinking, wouldn't it have been better, like, if a flatbed driver delivered the baby? Because they're so used to, like, unstrapping loads and taking things out and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, really good at...
While you're ahead. Shh.
No, seriously. A flatbedder would have been great at that. They're, like, used to getting, unstrapping, unchaining, unchaining that baby, man. Just,
Nope.
cut the cable, No, it's not working. You don't like that? I think a flatbed guy could have, yeah. I could have done it. Anyways, that's the opening story. Baby born at truck stop. Little Tulip. Oh,
If it was a girl.
If it was a girl, yes, Tulip for sure.
Diesel Mac.
Diesel Mac.
For a boy.
Diesel Mac. What?
Diesel Mac for a boy.
That would be cool, though. Anyways.
Or Mac Diesel.
Mac Diesel. Hey, I like that. Mac. Mac is a good name for a boy.
It is.
Because Mac is a name for a boy.
Mm-hmm. Mac Diesel.
Diesel's more of a nickname. And so is Tulip. But we could still call her
No. Tulip could be a girl. Like, standard name.
Yeah, I like that. Let's take a break. Hey drivers, are you sick of watching the other drivers bypass the way station while you are held up going through yourself? Well, download DriveWise today at www.drivewise.com. That's DRIVEWYZE.com, and start bypassing the scales yourself. If you're a small carrier, an owner-operator, or even a big fleet looking for something better, check out DriveWise today. And remember, there's no equipment, no transponders needed when you're using DriveWise. Check them out for a free download at www.drivewYZE.com. Truck Parking Club is a network of instantly reservable daily and monthly truck parking locations throughout the U.S. Truck Parking Club helps connect truckers to truck parking locations throughout the U.S. via truckparkingclub.com. Our networks is made up of property owners that have locations adequate for truck parking to list on the platform. This includes trucking companies, storage companies, CDL schools, trailer leasing companies, real estate investors, truck parking operators, and more. Go to truckparkingclub.com today. If you're a driver looking for a new trucking job,
Check out NCI. NCI offers the following: new Kenworth T680s, competitive wages, solo, team, and students welcome, plus a full benefit package for you and your family. Check them out today at 888-311-7076. That's 888-7076. And tell them Talk CDL sent you.
All right, we are back, Miss Ruth Ann, and got a guest for you today. A gentleman has been writing in. We got a lot of people write in. His name is Tom McGarry, and he writes in a lot. And he has a 289 number, which is South Florida. But for some reason, I think he lives in Canada. I'm not even sure. We're gonna get him. And he used to drive, and then I think he got injured or something, and he's not driving right now. But anyways, he had kind of told me a really cool story in the text. So I'm like, yo, dude, you got to come on and like, we got to just talk about this little story you got going on when he was in training. So let's call him and get him in here for a few minutes and let's talk to Tom. You want to do that? Cool. You ready? See if this thing dials right. Dum-da-dum. There it is.
Hello.
Tom, it's Troy from Talk CDL. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Troy. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. Tom, I've got Miss Ruth Ann here, the light of the show.
Hi, Ruth Ann.
Hi.
So we were talking about you, Tom. You're a driver, and you were a driver. You haven't driven in a little...
I was a driver, correct.
Correct. And been a little while. Did you get injured or something? Is that why you were out?
I had a stroke.
Oh, okay. Well, that's definitely a good reason to stop. And you are better now, Tom?
Well, not as far along as I would like to be, but I'm better than when it first happened, for sure.
Yeah, prayers for you, for sure, Tom. But anyways, the reason, Tom, we wanted to bring you on was because, you and I have been texting for the last couple of months, and you had mentioned a story about when you were in training. So let me just set this story on the go here. So you got your CDL. Were you living in Canada or were you living in the United States when you got your CDL?
I've always been in Ontario, Canada.
So you're in Ontario. You got your CDL. You went through school, and then you went with this trucking company, and we won't name the trucking company. You got with this trainer, and this trainer turns out to be a nightmare.
Yes. Actually, my first day when I went to the company to ask them about the job that they'd spoke to my school about, they said, have you had any experience yet? And I said, no, as a matter of fact, I haven't. So the only truck I've driven was the one in the school, right, during my course. And they said, well, we're going to need you to do a road test or go out with our senior driver on a trip to see how you do first. I was like, okay, I need to get experience somehow, and I want to get into the industry, so I was willing to do it. So they told me where the truck was and the name of the trainer. So I went out and met him, and we got in the truck, and we were going down to Scranton, Pennsylvania. That was where we went for our first trip. It was flatbed, so we were hauling a load of steel down to, I don't remember the name of the place we were going to. I just remember it was Scranton, Pennsylvania. And on our way down there, we're going down
81?
The 390? Do you know 390 off Interstate 90?
Sure.
Takes you down into Binghamton, or Dansville, New York.
Yes.
Goes down through Dansville, hooks up with 17. And 17 and 15 run over into Binghamton.
Okay.
Or what we call Bingo. Anyway, as we're going down Interstate 390, there are a lot of hills on 390. I don't know if you know 390 yourself. I'm sure you probably do, but 390 is kind of hilly. And when you get into Scully Kill area, you get into some good twists and turns. And I'm sitting in the jump seat, the passenger seat, and the trainer is driving because he wanted to drive first because he knows the area, and I didn't know the area we were going to. Anyway, while I'm sitting in the jump seat, he decides he wants a drink. He pulls out his pin puller that he kept behind the driver's seat, hooks it onto the steering wheel spinner on the steering wheel, stands up out of the seat, puts the cruise control on, and actually steps into the sleeper of the truck to get himself a drink. I'm like, where the heck do you think you're going? He goes, I'm going to get a drink. He said, you just mind your own business and sit there and keep an eye on things. So, well, what am I going to do if a car cuts us off or, is on the brakes? Said, I'm sitting in the jump seat. You shouldn't be doing that. Said, I know I'm just going for the ride, but I don't want you to put my life on the line. But he was just basically, you mind your own business, and I'm doing what I got to do. I'm like, well, dude, next time you could have just asked me to get the drink. So anyway, he's got the cruise control locked on the truck, doing 55 mile an hour down Interstate 390. We're going south on Interstate 390. We were just actually coming into Dansville, New York. There's a TA truck stop there, a little motel by it. We were just coming into Dansville, New York, and he decides to unbuckle his seatbelt and actually stand up and go into the sleeper to get himself a drink out of the cooler.
What is steering the truck at this time when he gets up and goes into his sleeper?
He's using the pin puller hooked up to his the steering wheel spinner, the spinner knob on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
He hooked it onto that, and he's standing in the sleeper holding on to his pin puller and looking at the windshield and trying to move his head side to side to see the mirrors the best he could, but still not a clear shot from there to see the mirrors. But
so he's got a pin puller in his hand, and he's got the hook hooked onto the steering ball, the steering ball that usually is for handicapped people. He's got one on his steering wheel, and he's got the hook hooked onto that, and he's trying to steer it because he's got his cruise control keeping it going, and he's back there. He's back there getting a drink, and
so he's not even looking at the road at this point because he had to bend down to get to the cooler to look in the cooler to fish around to see what drink he wanted.
Yeah. You know what? It's almost reminds me, it almost sounds like he's trying to impress you because why?
I don't know, but that didn't impress me one bit, actually. It made me very nervous and very upset.
Yeah.
I would be.
But I was brand new, right? So I wanted the job. And most companies out here want at least 2 to 3 years experience before they'll hire you.
Did you report the guy or did you not say anything?
Yes, as soon as we got back to the yard in Ontario, Canada, which is just east of Fort Erie, Ontario, so just east of Buffalo, about maybe 30 to 45 minutes east of Buffalo.
Okay.
As soon as we got back, I went in and talked to the boss, the fellow that was giving me the driving opportunity, and told him what happened. And I said, under no circumstances do I want to go back out with that fellow. Either you find me another guy to go out with, or you go out on a run with him. I said, I maybe do, but I'm not stupid, and I don't want to end up dead.
Did they?
Nor do I want to be responsible for anybody else being dead. So the boss called him into the office as I was leaving, and I don't know what the conversation was about, but I know I went out to the truck and was doing up some paperwork, and he came out and he was extremely angry with me for telling the boss what had happened. I'm like, you're angry with me, dude? Said, you're the one that put our lives at risk, not to mention the lives of other people on the road at risk.
So you
don't be mad at me. Don't be so stupid next time.
You don't know if they fired him or?
Not right on the spot. They didn't.
Okay.
I stayed with the company for about a year. I ended up working for the company for about a year after that.
Okay.
And he was still there for about another 6 months before he disappeared. I don't know if he quit, got fired. I never heard any rumors. He was just gone. I never seen him again. About 6 months after I started working for them.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we're glad you made it through that nightmare. How long? So you were just basically out with him for a trip, and that was it, and you were done.
Yes. When I came back and I stayed working for the company for a year after that. But after a year I called it quits because I found out that they tend to take, we called them misfit drivers,
mm-hmm.
like people with bad driving records and stuff like that, or whatnot. People who can't read, can't follow a map and stuff like that. They tend to take those kind of people on as drivers and keep them on as drivers as long as they can. I ended up doing another run down to, I don't know if you know Alcoa Aluminum in Cressona, Pennsylvania.
Actually from there. Yeah. Actually, Ruth Ann and I are both from Cressona, Schuylkill Haven, Pottsville, and the aluminum plant there is the world's largest extrusion plant. I think they ship like 200 loads a day.
I don't think it's open anymore, actually.
Oh, it is. Trust me, it's open.
It's a different name now.
Yeah, it's not called Alcoa, it's Sapa. But the names have changed about 5 times over my lifetime. It's a giant aluminum place, yeah.
Anyway, I went down there again with another driver, like not in the same truck. We were both driving our own trucks at this point. And we were there the night before, so we couldn't pick up till the next morning. So we were asked to wait outside the gate and sleep in our trucks outside until morning. And the driver that was in the other truck liked to drink. He had lots of wobbly pops in his truck. And I guess he decided to drink while he was there overnight. And in the morning, when the security guard came out to get us to tell us we can go in and pick up our loads, he could smell the alcohol on the other driver's breath and refused to let the other driver in onto the property because he could smell the alcohol. And the driver got mad and actually drove through the guard check.
What year was that? We've got a lot of friends that still work there.
This was back in 1996.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it was quite a while ago.
The same year I got my license.
Almost 30 years ago. Yeah, we'd have to.
Yes.
Ruth Ann's brother worked there for how many years, Ruth Ann?
30.
Was it 38 years?
Yeah,
39 years.
yeah.
He was like a year away from his 40th anniversary getting a ring, and he had a little issue with them. But still, he would remember that, a driver going through the guard check.
Well, I literally was trying to remember.
This guy drove right through the guard check because he was mad that they wouldn't let him on the property because they could smell the alcohol in his breath. They ended up calling the local police. The local police blocked his truck before he could get out of the yard. Because
Wow.
he drove into switch trailers. He was doing a drop and switch. I was going to get live loaded. He was doing a drop and switch. So he went into switch trailers, and on his way back out, there was a couple of local police sitting there, blocking his way from getting out. He didn't dare drive over their vehicles, so he came to a stop, and they arrested him. This picture actually was posted in the local newspaper at the time, because I think somebody else from the company brought a picture of it in and hung it in the office.
Okay. Well, Tom, thank you so much for coming on and sharing that story of the trainer. I was dying to let the listeners hear about that, and I guess we got a bonus story or two out of you with the aluminum plant. But I would love for you to come back on, and tell us more stories of your adventures. We talk about Canada and all that other good stuff. Yeah. Okay. Well, Tom, I'm going to have to cut you. I went a little over on what I was trying to do here, and Ruth Ann and I got to move on. We're going to be talking about companies that change their DOT numbers. So if you want to sit in the green room, you can listen in, or I can cut you off.
Sure.
Okay. All
I've
right.
got nothing else to do right now.
All right. Well, appreciate you coming on, by the way.
Thank you for chatting with us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Pleasure talking to you.
All right. All right, Ruth Ann, moving on. So I read an article earlier about a guy that got arrested. And it reminded me of, there was a topic I wanted to talk about a couple weeks ago, and I never got to it because we ran out of time. I want to read, there was a guy in Georgia who got sentenced to federal prison for operating illegal trucking business on PPP fraud, which, so you read about that.
That one I did read about, yeah.
Okay, so the PPP fraud was the COVID relief funds. And so it's just real quick, just to catch everybody up, it says a Georgia man has been sentenced to federal prison for operating illegal trucking businesses and for stealing pandemic relief funds. Now, it says on August 13th, Roderick Billingsley, 30, of Dacula. It's funny. It's like Dracula without the R.
I know. I seen that.
You seen that too?
Yeah.
So Dacula, Georgia, was sentenced to 2 years, 6 months in prison, followed up by 3 years of supervision. It says he was ordered to pay almost $600,000 in restitution, and it says let me see here. It says he got nailed for one count of wire fraud, falsification of records in federal investigation. I'm just trying to breeze through this so everybody doesn't hear the giant article. Authority said in January of 2020, U.S. Department of Transportation ordered a trucking company owned by Roderick Billingsley, to cease and desist all operations due to multiple safety violations. Billingsley was also prohibited from establishing other trucking businesses. So, because this is what we're going to talk about here in a second. A lot of companies, they get in trouble. What do? they go under somebody else's name, right?
Right.
Well, let me put the trucking company in my brother's name now and get a different DOT number, right? Is what they do. It's a trick, and DOT knows they do it. They just can't keep up with as many of them do it. So it says, however, the U.S. Attorney's Office from the Northern District of Georgia states that Billingsley defied this order, filing multiple registrations with DOT for the new trucking companies that listed false owners and fake addresses. Officials say this was accomplished by stealing corporate identities of legitimate trucking companies. So he did it even worse. He then employed unsuspecting truckers. And here's the part where the truckers, this is where, like, I've interviewed a lot of truckers lately. Where do we see this happening a lot? Where a trucking company, they get in trouble, they're told to shut down, or they get shut down, and where are you seeing a lot of this? Chicago. Honestly, let's be honest. Let's call it like it is, okay? There's thousands of trucking companies that formed over when COVID happened. They just formed, and some of them grew. I know one that's really big, a very super company, super sized company up in Chicago. Very super, right? Anyways, so they have multiple DOT numbers underneath their company. And I've talked to some of the drivers. They're like, I'm not even sure who the hell I'm working for. I got one, my check is from this. I'm pulling this. They got different DOT numbers. And so, again, we see companies that are doing that. And, you know, you hear about it because there's probably Chicago has more trucking companies than anywhere in the United States right now. At one time, Carlisle and York, Pennsylvania, that whole area were like the big giant hubs for trucking companies. And there's still a lot there, but a lot of companies were formed up in that Chicago area, all the suburbs and everything. And when they get in trouble, they do this. So really my message to drivers, what message would you give the drivers, Ruthann, right now about trucking companies?
I would say if you're going with a trucking company that you're not hugely familiar with because they are smaller than what you know, they're not one of the real big name ones.
Right.
Anybody can go on to the FMCSA or SaferStat. All you have to do is have their DOT number or their name and city that they're from, and you could pull them up. And I would suggest doing that. And the one thing that they started doing was compiling the safe statistics. So they'll actually, when you pull up on like the SaferStat, they'll have inspections, but it'll also say how many accidents the drivers were in, and it will break it down even further on different stuff, like if they caused injury. So you can actually get an idea then also with the equipment that they're going to be hauling, whether or not it's a company you want to be working with. I mean, if it was me, that's what I would start trying to do, just because I would want to make sure that I'm going with a legitimate company that is also safe.
I agree. You know, to me, it's a red flag. You know, I was talking to a driver the other day, and his fuel card wasn't working.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, dun, dun, dun. And so he said, "Oh, we're shipping you the new DOT numbers and the new card for fuel and all this other stuff."
Shipping it?
Yeah, they were overnighting it to him. And this guy had sat at a truck stop for 2 days waiting to be able to move because he didn't have enough fuel to get going. And so the red flags, I would tell drivers, that's a big one. Mm-hmm. Any company, I don't care. And if you're a company that does this and you don't like me talking about it, sorry, sucks to be you. Because, you know, honestly and truly, it isn't fair, like that article said, unsuspecting truckers. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you see an ad, and then you get this great offer. And, you know, a lot of the Chicago companies, they'll offer 70 cents a mile, more than, you know, a lot more than everybody. That should be a red flag right now because they're on the spot market, most of those guys. They don't have the freight, and you're going to starve anyways, okay, bottom line. But it should be a red flag the second your fuel card doesn't work, the second a company asks you to change the placard on the truck, okay, to a different DOT number, the second any of that stuff, that to me tells me it's a monkey operation, Ruthann.
Yeah, you don't want to end up, no driver really wants to work with a monkey operation, one that has to do all that stuff, because you're chancing your career. Because if they're doing that like that, they're not business minded. or at least strong enough in their business mind to operate more fluently. You know what I'm saying?
100% agree. The other red flag I've been telling drivers this for the last year, ever since we went into this freight recession, there's been a lot, and drivers are getting screwed a lot right now. And so when you go with one of these companies that makes these big promises and they're shady with DOT numbers and everything, and you get there, the second your paycheck is late, because this is going on big time too, okay? The second your paycheck is late, that is the big red flag right there. There is no sense waiting till next week to see if they catch up. None of that stuff. You stop your truck and you get paid, okay, because you're going one more week in the hole. So changing DOT numbers, late paychecks, all these things really say bad company that's barely surviving, company that's probably not going to make it. And why should you go down with them, especially if you're brand new with them? If you go there and all of a sudden you're seeing all this stuff and you're not understanding it, I'm going to tell you something. A legitimate trucking company never does any of these things.
That's what I was meaning when you said about going down with them. You're chancing your reputation as a driver working for companies like that because of the fact that you just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree. Here, let me just ask Tom. Let me bring him back in. Tom, what do you think of all this stuff that's going on with these trucking companies changing DOT numbers? You got an opinion on it?
Well, my opinion is now, when I got into trucking, the internet wasn't around, right? But now, since we have the internet and the World Wide Web, I would tell people to, do your research. Research the company just like they would research you. Ask their current drivers, go to their yard, talk to their drivers.
That's actually really good advice, Ruth Ann. Always definitely make sure, because, a lot of times you can go on Reddit or whatever, one of those social medias, and you'll see somebody saying, I was asked to change DOT numbers. They're on their fifth DOT number. Any of that stuff is just red flag all the way, and you just want to say, have no part of it. Ruth Ann, anything?
No, I agree. One thing that Tom just said is go to their lot. Kind of, walk over that way and ask the driver, how do you like working for this company?
Yeah, I mean, yes, but if it's 1,000 miles away, you can't do that, obviously. So, really, the internet is probably the best place to go and try to find out, before you make your move. But I would tell anybody right now, and we're still in this freight recession, Ruth Ann. I would tell everybody right now that the first thing you should ask a trucking company if you're looking for a job is, what's your customers? How long are your contracts good for? Do you have contracted freight? And how much of your freight is broker loads? Because if they are a company that's on the load boards trying to haul broker freight, it's already a nightmare for you. I'm telling you right now, that's until you see. A truck driver asked me the other day, he said, when's it going to turn around? I said, you're going to know. You're going to know. You know how you're going to know, Ruth Ann? You're going to know because all the truck drivers are going to be telling each other, hey, call this company. I'm making this kind of money. And they will show you their paychecks, and they will be legitimately making it. Like when the times were good, people knew to go call this company or go with that company or this company. But right now, you're not hearing that. The other telltale sign of this is go on Craigslist and look at the job board on the transportation side, especially in like Atlanta, Dallas, and the really big cities. Normally they have 3 to 5 pages of jobs. Right now, on a Monday, they don't even have a full page. They don't even have a full page of jobs. That tells you trucking companies don't need drivers right now. It also tells you that, if you go to one of these spot market or DOT changing companies, you're in a lot of trouble. So, take Tom's advice, take Ruth Ann's advice, and take my advice. Check these companies out before you go to them. And my advice right now is stay away from anybody on the spot market. Ruth Ann, moving on. Before I beat the dead horse. Anyways, do you have the word of the day?
I do.
You do? What do you got for us? Huh? I should have made you get 2 words since we haven't been here for 2 weeks. We don't normally skip a week, but the FBI interview we got a lot of awesome ratings with that, so we kept that one going up at the top. Go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. What's the word, girl?
Approbate.
Wait, say it again.
Approbate.
Approbate.
Tom, you know what that means?
No clue.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with Tom. Approbate.
Approbate. APPROBATE. Approbate.
Approbate.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean?
It's a verb, and it means approve, formally, or sanction. I almost said sanction.
Approve. Use it in a sentence.
In order to build a shed, the city council needed to approbate my project with a building permit. My boss approbated my expenses from my trip to the trade show.
Okay.
So it's basically to sanction or to formally approve it.
Nice. Well, that is awesome. Tom, we usually end the show with peace.
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 We're out of here. Praise the Lord.